This is Jack Fishman behind the camera, speaking with conductor and violinist Dimitry Sitkovetsky, who's the soloist in both capacities this week. So this is a little unusual. You're both playing and conducting, and mainly because of an unusual piece by Mozart. Tell us a little bit about the Hafner Serenade.
Right. Well, Hafner Serenade is unique among all the Mozart 41 symphonies and many serenades that he wrote for winds and of course the Grand Partita and all that, because it is a custom-made piece. It was written as a request for a wealthy merchant of Salzburg. It was at the time when Mozart was still in Salzburg, for his daughter's wedding, and Hafner was the name of that merchant. So it was made specially for the whole sort of day of proceeding. Must have been. It was never probably meant to be played, one movement after the next. It was interrupted for the ceremony, for the procession, and then finale for this and that. So what Mozart did with the second, third, and fourth movement, he wrote a real violin concerto there. There's a slow movement and then minuet, and then an incredibly virtuoso rondo, the famous rondo, which later on Fritz Kreisler arranged for violin and piano. And that's how violinists know that. That's a fantastic piece. So you have a built-in violin concerto. Sometimes it's played by the concertmaster, but in this case, I will have to change the profession twice in the course of a piece. I will conduct the first movement, then go backstage, fetch my violin, then play second, third, and fourth movement as a violin concerto without conductor, and come back for the remaining four movements, as a conductor. So in one piece, practically without, any stops or any action in between, one has to change those hats. For me, play conduct is not an unusual activity, because ever since I started conducting, which was more than 20 years ago, that's how one starts. One leads the orchestra as a soloist. Some of my colleagues lead the orchestra as concertmeisters, but I actually stand up and conduct, and then that's how I developed my conducting career. There are some situations where I don't play at all, but I always welcome a chance to speak directly to the musicians on stage and also to the audience through the voice that I've acquired ever since I was 4 or 5 years old, because violin is my first love. And even now, having conducted for more than 20 years, it's still very much my voice. In the course of a rehearsal, you can certainly stop and explain and talk about certain things, but there's nothing like actually expressing it through the sounds. And a lot of things, when we do those movements and I have violin in my hand, I don't need to explain how to do it. They hear it, they respond. It is chamber music. And for me, chamber music is not so much just the genre of chamber music, music that's played by a few people, between 2 to, 8 people in a small room. No, chamber music for me, important as a principle of communicating between the musicians, also between the musicians and the audience. And even in the biggest symphonies, you take Mahler symphonies, Bruckner symphonies, Shostakovich symphonies, there's always an element, continuous element of chamber music, which means that it's not enough that you play your part. You have to communicate with different groups, with the different instruments, and the better atmosphere one could create in a group of people, the more joyous the result, because all musicians that I know love playing chamber music. Sometimes they don't love playing in a large group of people playing the same notes, but in the Mozart piece like this, actually the whole program, Strauss and Bizet, there's a great deal and great emphasis on individual efforts and on ensemble playing.
So this will be your conducting debut with the San Antonio Symphony, but not your violin solo debut. You played the Mendelssohn with us in 1985 and Bartók's second violin concerto in 87. So we're very much looking forward to Friday and Saturday night to your conducting debut. Thank you.
Thank you.